We humans relate best through stories and through narratives. This is why Christ often taught in parables. He would tell a story with a meaning, to get our attention, and also because that's how we understand things. That's how we relate best as people. If you're telling someone about your day, if you're telling your spouse how your day went, you're going to be telling a series of stories. Or if you're explaining your childhood or your growing up family experience to someone, it's going to be a string of stories. Now, some of these stories are going to contain more truth than others. In fact, it comes to the point where the story becomes more important than what actually happened. The story is what we remember. The story is what we believe, and the story is what gets passed on. The way we tell our stories really reflects what we believe about ourselves and what we believe about God, what we believe about His work in our lives. And when we look back over the stories that we tell, we need to think about what stories we're believing. So look back over the story of your life and think about what stories you're telling, what stories you're believing about yourself, what stories you're believing about God. And before the Bible was compiled, people passed their knowledge of God down through the generations in the form of stories. They told their children stories about what God had done in their lives, about what God had done for His people. And many of those stories have been written and compiled in the Bible since then. But we still have a responsibility as God's children to keep on passing the story of God's faithfulness down through the generations. So what stories are we telling and believing about our struggles? What stories are we telling and believing about our successes? What stories are we telling and believing about our family experiences? We need to ask ourselves this question: how does God fit in to the stories that I tell and believe about myself, about my life, and about Him? Now, if we're really honest with ourselves and we really look at our lives, we can't say that God fits in anywhere. Really, God should permeate every aspect of every one of our stories. God is ever present. He was there from the beginning and plays a crucial part in all of our stories. So I guess this is a call to reevaluate the stories that we tell and believe about our lives, especially God's role in those stories.